morning, y'all. For those who are just joining in, good morning. You can go ahead and grab yourself 2 blocks and a blanket today, and find a nice comfortable spot for your yoga real estate this morning. You go ahead and find any comfortable spot here. That is, we go through a nice, gentle, hatha flow for this morning's class. Go ahead and get my timer up on here. Okay, cool. Oh, wonderful. Thanks for showing up to this morning's class. You can go ahead and start to set all of your stuff up. You can go ahead as well, play your own music at your own house. Be your own DJ so that YouTube lets us continue to have our fun this morning. And we're going to continue on with the hips this morning. So with that being said, we're going to be working more with the rotation patterns of our hips and doing a little bit of strength and conditioning with that as well. And so today, for the beginning of our practice, we're actually going to go ahead and find ourselves onto our back. So as you make your way onto your back, we're going to ground this morning by coming into a Supta Baddha Konasana, coming into reclined butterfly pose. So having your feet connected here, and as you're strongly connected, you can start to bring your knees out to the sides. And you do have the 2 blocks with you, so if it feels more comfortable, you can place a block, one each, underneath your hips here. And as you start to make the connection, possibly blocks supporting your thighs. You can start as you inhale. Bring your stomach up in towards your hands and allowing your spine to meet its way towards the mat here. So allowing yourself to dive deep into these big belly breaths. Taking deep and rich inhalations into the nose and out through the nose, allowing yourself to fully expand throughout the body, throughout the lungs, throughout the stomach, allowing our spine to surrender here on the mat. And you can take 3 more breaths here. And after the 3rd breath, deep inhale into the nose, out the mouth. You can go ahead and connect your feet, your knees together. And if you wanted to do some windshield wipe side to side, you can then start to Open up your knees, guiding them, getting a little bit of rotation going on into the hips. Good. So then as you're rocking side to side, we're going to come into a half baby here. Excuse me. So come into half happy baby. We're going to keep the left foot onto the mat and we're going to hug the right knee into the chest. Before we go right into it, go ahead and roll out the ankle thumb here. Do a little reverse rotation. And then we're going to hug the knee in towards your chest. And so hugging towards the chest, flex the right foot. And you can go ahead and guide the right knee in towards the armpit here. And you can choose to keep the knee up. Lay down, buddy. You can choose to keep the knee up, or you can extend the left leg to the front of the mat here. And if you need to as well, you are more than welcome to place a blanket underneath the sacrum for an additional comfort on the low spine. Nice. You can keep the left hand onto the left hip crease or thigh to help keep the leg rooted. Keeping the hip onto the ground. Got a little core engagement. Activation through the foot. And maybe even slightly pressing your foot into your hand at the same time you're bringing your hand down. Keeping the leg in place. So working the hip a little more here. We're going to take 3 more breaths. Good. With the right arm, we're going to bring it out to the T. We're going to tuck the left hip underneath the right hip, and we're going to send the right knee over towards the left side of the room. And you can take your eye gaze over the right shoulder here. Two more breaths. As you're done, you can very slowly bring yourself back onto the mat. Good. And then you're going to rebend that left knee, placing your right foot onto the left thigh here. You got that figure 4 shape. The figure 4 shape, we're going to thread the needle, hugging the left hip in, pressing the right foot against the left thigh. Good, right knee comes out, squaring through the hips. Then as you bring the left shin parallel, you can keep it here, or you can straighten the leg all the way up towards the ceiling as you hug the left thigh in. And then as we hug it in here, we're going to very slowly bring our hands onto the mat. Rotate the shoulders behind the spine, nice and rooted here. And as we flex the left foot towards the ceiling, we're going to flex with the right foot, press it onto the thigh. Inhale, very slowly, hover the left foot just above the mat, not touching. And exhale, rise. Good. Inhale, slowly hover towards the ground. Exhale, rise. You're going to do this for 4 more times. Nice and slow so that we can work through the lower core. Keeping the hands pressed by the hips so we can assist the load up towards the ceiling. Keeping the hips onto the ground so we're not flinging our leg up towards the ceiling. Going nice and gentle here. After you've done your 4, you can release, straighten both legs up towards the ceiling, inverted staff pose. And very slowly, both legs hover to the ground, all the way. Nicely done. You can go ahead, rebend through the legs. Windshield wipe side to side. And then we're going to take it to the opposite side here. So as we keep the right knee bent, we're going to hug the left knee in, grab onto the left foot for half happy baby. Nice. Guide the knee in towards the armpit. And once you feel comfortable, you can then straighten out through the right leg. Just taking those nice deep belly breaths. Two more. Nice breath. Good. Then after those 2 breaths, just go ahead and rebend the knee here. And then give the ankle a little bit of a roll. And go the opposite way. Good. And then a little knee roll. Go in the opposite way. And then bring the right hand onto the left knee, left arm for the T. Tuck the right hip under. Inhale, supine twist. Bring in the left knee over to the right side of the room. Take 3 more breaths here, making sure that the left shoulder is rooted onto the mat, finding that expansion opening through the chest. Wonderful. You then go ahead, very gently come onto your knee or onto your hips and bend the right knee. Left foot onto the right thigh. Create that figure 4 shape here. Send the knee away. Foot is active onto the right thigh. Good. And then when you're ready, you can rise up with the right thigh. Thread the needle, hugging the right thigh, keeping the right foot pointed forward or all the way up towards the ceiling. Eventually, we're going to meet here anyway. So making sure that that left knee that's coming in, send it out towards the side. You can hold on to the right thigh and the left hand can go on the left knee if you need that extra assistance here. Good. And then after a couple breaths or so, you can take the hands by the hips again, rotate the shoulders back, keep everything nice and glued here. And then 6 times, inhale, slowly hover the right foot just above the mat. And then exhale, rise, bring it up. It's very easy to swing that hip up, but try your best to go nice and slow. Inhale, hover. Exhale, release. Good. 4 more times. Pressing the hands into the mat or the ground. We can keep our back onto the mat. We can keep our hips onto the mat. And then after you have done your 6, you can bring both legs up to the sky in inverted staff pose. So having the arms out to the T or by the hips still. Point your toes up towards the ceiling. And then 6 times with both the legs. Inhale, over to the ground. Exhale, bring it back up. Good. 5 more times. Good. After the 5 times, go ahead, hug the knees into your chest, and rock your knees side to side. Good. Nice. And then from here, we can just come up onto our seated area, and then we're going to come forward all the way onto our hands and knees into tabletop position here. Nice. You go ahead and come into our tabletop position. In tabletop position, let's go ahead and go through a couple cat-cows to open up their spine. So make it a nice long tabletop. Plant the hands down. Rotate the shoulders back. Inhale, chest up, tailbone up, cow. Exhale, send the shoulders towards the ceiling, to the chest into your cat. Good. And you can go ahead and find your breath for these movements. And then after a few cat-cows, we're going to keep our hips up, bring our arms forward, and we're going to come into an extended puppy pose. So if you wanted to take your blocks and place them underneath your arms, you're more than welcome to do so. The tailbone is going up towards the ceiling, stomach towards the thighs, hollowing out through the lower spine, creating a deeper hip hinge here. Tries to make it its way towards the ground. You can also put a block underneath your head if you need some assistance, leveling out to the spine, throughout the neck. You go ahead and do so here. Two more breaths. Good. And then you go ahead and come onto the forearms here. As you're onto the forearms, you can go ahead and straighten the left leg back, and then the right leg come into a forearm plank, having your shoulders right above your elbows here. Good. Heels up, core is engaged. Good. Be nice and strong into the arms here, pressing the arms into the ground. Shoulders are risen. We're going to gently bring the chest in, tailbone up towards the sky, and slowly walk the toes towards the elbows here as we send the chest between our shoulder blades, dolphin plank. And it is a-okay if we cannot touch our ankles to the ground here. This is strong for opening up our shoulders, our hamstrings as well. So taking your time, bringing your tailbone up, hollowing out through the lower spine. Good. 3 more breaths. Good. Come forward, drop the knees, send the legs back, coming into Sphinx pose as we inhale, and then coming into seal pose, straightening out through the arms, chest comes forward here, arms are back. Nice little back kind of action here. Good. And very slowly release. Good. We're going to take our head onto the mat here, or onto the left hand. We're going to lift up through the right leg and take the right arm, right hand, grab onto the right foot. Send the right foot near our right hip, stretching out through the quad. Stretch out to the top of the foot. 2 more breaths. Good. Slowly release. Let's grab onto the left foot. Good. And then send that left heel towards the left glute. And as you are sending it towards the glute as well, just very gently pressing the foot into the left hand. And very slowly releasing. We're going to take our hands, clasp them behind our shoulder, rotate our shoulders back, straightening out through the arms. Gaze is forward. We're going to bring the pelvic into the ground. So tuck the pelvic, engage the glutes, engage the lower core. Then inhale, rise with your chest up, your arms towards the back of the room into half locust here. Good, so your toes are pressing into the ground, chest is lifted. If you wanted to lift up through the legs, all you gotta do is just lift them up to come into full locust pose. Bend through the knees, grab onto the feet here. And the next inhale, press the feet into the hands, coming into bow pose. And 3 more breaths. Very slowly bring the legs down, hands underneath the shoulders, rotate the shoulders back. Good. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, release. Toes are curled. Inhale, rise, chaturanga, downward facing dog. Just a first down dog. Bring the tailbone up towards the ceiling, move the heels down. Create a good hip hinge. 1 ankle at a time, stretching out the hamstrings a little more here. Good. And then with the right hand, you're going to take the right hand and bring it towards the left leg. I gaze over the right, or underneath the left armpit for a twist. Good. And place the right hand to the mat. Inhale, send the left arm to the right leg. I gaze underneath the right armpit, twist. Good. Downward facing dog. Root to the left leg. Inhale, rise, right leg, 3-legged dog. We're going to bend the knee, then open up the hip crease. Good. Square the hips, and then inhale. Send the right knee underneath the left armpit, twist. Good. Exhale, three-legged dog. Bend the knee and inhale, bring it forward in between our palms here. And then as we're here, we're going to keep that flat left palm. Keep the left thigh lifted. And then inhale, send the right arm towards the front of the room. Good. 2 more breaths. Release. Inhale. Send the left arm towards the front of the room. The bicep should be alongside of our ear. Exhale, release. And from here, we're going to bring both the arms back, engage the core. Good, nice strong right foot. And then inhale, send both the arms forward. Biceps alongside of our ears. Inhale, rise all the way up. High lunge. Drop, warrior diagonal foot, warrior 2. Nicely done. So now we're here at our warrior 2. Good. We're going to straighten the legs. Inhale, arms up towards the ceiling. Point the toes forward. We're going to bring your hands behind our spine. Rotate our shoulders back, hip hinge, wide-legged forward fold. That's so that tailbone is towards the back of the room. Crown towards the ground. Nicely done. Inhale, rise all the way up. 5-pointed star, point both the legs, the toes to the left side of the mat now. And then we're going to bend through the left leg, lift up the right ankle. High lunge. Inhale forward here into the lunge. Both arms. Release, hands to the ground. Inhale, left arm towards the front of the mat. Good, release. Inhale, right arm towards the front of the mat. Good. Release. And then from here, we're going to bend the left knee to the chest. Inhale, three-legged dog. Bend the left knee, open up the hip crease. Good. And then inhale, twist the left knee underneath the right armpit. Three-legged dog. Inhale, send the left knee, bring it all the way forward in between the palms once more. Nicely done. We're going to go ahead and drop the right knee, top of the right foot. And here, inhale, rise, Anjaneyasana. Biceps alongside the ears here. Lift up the navel 2 inches. Good, nice and strong. Into the front leg and the bottom leg. Open up the arms to the T. And inhale, twist over to the left side. You can karate chop the right arm to the right thigh if you wish. Take the left arm more towards the back of the room. All right, inhale, rise. Both arms towards the ceiling. Good. And then from here, we're going to curl the right toes. And inhale, send the left hip crease back. Arms back. Half splits, Silver Surfer style. Good. And so at this time, if you wanted to actually put a blanket underneath the right knee, it'll be a little more comfortable here. So we're going to go through a little hip sequence. As we come into our half splits, keeping the front foot active, whether pointed up or towards the front of the room. And to keep the back toes curled. And we're going to come into Anjaneyasana and then coming back into some half splits, surfer style, arms towards the back of the room, strengthening our lower back and increasing our hip hinge mobility here. Good. So on the next breath, You're going to re-bend through the left knee. Inhale, bring the arms up towards the ceiling, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, curl the toes, Silver Surfer style. Do this 5 more times. Keeping your core nice and strong. And try to keep your torso into place as you're moving so that you're moving more through the hips and not as much through the spine itself. Nicely concentrated. I think we're at 1 more, and if not, it doesn't hurt to add an extra. Good. And next time we come, inhale, come back to your Anjaneyasana. Back bend if you wish. Hip hinge, forward fold. And from here, lift up through the knee. And then send the right leg back. Inhale, chaturanga. Flip the feet into upward facing dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Pedal out the legs. Rise left leg, 3-legged dog. Bend the knee and bring it all the way forward. In between the palms here. Not so sticky. Good. Just between the palms, you're going to go ahead and drop the right knee, top of the right foot. Or actually, excuse me, right leg towards the front of the mat, not the left. Good. So the right leg should be in front, left leg should be in back. And then as we square through the hips, we're going to bring the arms back and inhale, rise into your Anjaneyasana. So go ahead and protect the left knee if you need to do that here. Good. And then we're going to go through those Anjaneyasana half split transitions. Good. So start to curl the toes. Inhale, Anjaneyasana. Engage the core. Exhale, straighten the right leg. Send the arms back. Half splits. Inhale, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, half splits. And also try to see as you keep your torso in place, see if you can keep your knee from rotating inward. So try to keep it pointing towards the ceiling. Nice. And then once you have done your 6 transitions, you can uncurl the toes, come into your Anjaneyasana. If you want to, you can practice back bending. Exhale, hip hinge, forward fold. We're going to lift up to the left knee, right leg, 3-legged dog. Downward facing dog. Good. Eye gaze to the front of the mat, either top step or walk to the front of the mat. Uttanasana, forward fold. Good. Nice. So go ahead and clasp onto the elbows if you wanted to, and kind of swing side to side. If you wanted to take your fingertips out to come into your forward fold, pressing your hands into the mat. Tailbone up. You can go ahead and do so as well. Just a couple breaths here. Good. Inhale, find that half lift. And then exhale, forward fold. Palms face up, inhale, rise all the way up into high mountain. Bring the knees together here, palms together. Let's start to take the tailbone back. Chest is risen, coming into chair pose. Nice and strong to the core, chest is lifted. Nice. If you want to, you can send your arms up as well. 3 more breaths. And then inhale, rise all the way up, back bend if you want to. Palms together. Nice. So from here, we're going to come straight onto our mat, and we're eventually going to come into a standing pigeon pose. So from here, we're going to work with our tree pose, but getting a little bit more intense with it. So as we're coming with our Vrksasana, keeping your feet onto the ground, let's bring the booty in. It's nice and strong into the core. Let's send the left knee up and towards the chest. Find your balance with the right foot. And then as we place ourselves in the figure 4 shape here, we're going to send the left knee all the way up in towards the right hip crease, holding onto the foot with your right hand, or I should say with your left hand. And then with your right hand, you can take your right hand behind your back as if you are trying to come into Gomukhasana, arms with your right arm. So you're just taking your right arm to the T, flipping the palm towards the back of the room, and taking the back of the hand onto your spine here. Good. So the right hand's going towards the shoulder blades, holding onto the left foot, nice and straight. The right arm is optional. If it's not working for you, you can just take the right hand to the right hip. Good. This is just helping us keep our straight spine, keep our balance here. Nice. Good. Very gently remove the right hand. You take the right hand and the left hand and bring the palms to the T here. We're going to send the tailbone back. Good. We're going to send the tailbone back, keeping the chest lifted. Good. It's starting to bend at the right knee, and we also want to keep the left knee in alignment, so bringing it up very slightly as we start to find this bend into the hip crease. Bring the tailbone back. Good. Putting less strain onto the right knee. Good. You can stay here with your lifted chest, tailbone back. If you wanted to hip hinge forward fold, you can go ahead and do that as well. Placing your hands onto the floor or block. Wherever you're at, go ahead and take 3 more breaths. Nice. If your leg is straight, you can be bent through the knee, palms to the chest, come all the way up standing. Very slowly remove the left knee. And you can either choose to bring the left foot back to the ground, or if you wanted to stretch out through the quad, you can grab onto the left foot with the left hand, keep your right thumb onto the chest, and start to press your left foot into the left hand. Or another option is that you can bring your right arm towards the front of the room. Good. Just a simple variation of king dancer, nothing too intense. And then you can slowly bring the left foot back down to the ground and shift that through the hips. That last part was optional if you're looking for a little quad stretch. Good. Working more with the extension and flexion of the left hip. Now let's go ahead and take it to the opposite side now. So let's go ahead, find our stance with our Vrksasana. This time, transcend all that energy, strength into the left leg, and we're going to bend at the right knee. Good. Bring the right knee up, guide the right foot onto the left thigh, maybe a little higher here, like in lotus leg. Good. And from here, you can hold on to the right foot with the right hand. The left arm, you can bring it out to the T, palm facing towards the back of the room, and you can take the left hand, guiding it up towards your shoulder here, help keeping your back straight. Good, as we're keeping our right foot into place. You can stay here for 3 breaths. Hand on the hip is also optional if this is too much for us today. We can slowly remove the hand, bringing the palms up to the into paired hands. And then we're going to bring the tailbone back. Good. Start to create a bend with the hip here. So if you need to adjust your foot setting, you go ahead and do so. Nice. Yep. Bending into the left leg. If you wanted to, you can come into a forward standing position. Whatever you would like for the next 3 breaths. Very slowly, palms back together, rising up. Good. Bring the right knee to the chest. Either right foot to the ground, or you could grab onto the right foot, left hand to the heart or out, and you can go ahead and open up into a simplified version of King Dancer. Very gently bring that right knee back to the chest, and then slowly release. Go ahead, shake that up. Good. Coming near the end of class here. So we go ahead, hip hinge forward fold. Let's send the legs back to plank. So you're here to our plank. Nice. We're going to send the left knee towards the elbow and take the left foot behind the right ankle here. Good. And then walking the right knee back, coming into pigeon pose. So it's okay if your left leg isn't symmetrical to the top of the mat. We're going to rotate that right hip crease down. If you need to put any additional padding underneath the left hip, so maybe a block or a folded blanket, that's both hips have contact to the ground. Leg is straight towards the back of the room, chest is lifted here. Good. For pigeon pose, left hand can be on the left thigh, right hand on the right foot. 3 breaths. And you can start to very slowly come forward here, hip hinging. Go sleeping pigeon for 3 more breaths. Good. Very slowly straighten out through the spine. Good. You take your hands to the mat, bring the left leg back. Inhale, right knee, right foot behind the left thigh. The left hand, I should say. Walk the left thigh back. If you need to fill any space underneath the right hip, you can go ahead and do so. Rotating that left hip crease in, right hand onto the thigh, left hand onto the foot. Square through the hips. Good, and then straighten out through the spine here. Good. Taking a few moments of breath. And then once you're ready, you go ahead and take your pigeon forward into sleeping pigeon. Nice, one more breath. And you slowly rise out of your forward pigeon. Curl the toes, send the leg back to plank. Come forward, drop onto the stomach and roll onto the spine here. We're coming to the end of our class. So for the end of our class here, for one more spinal opening, we can, as well as working with the hips, we can come into a bridge pose or wheel pose. It's definitely your decision. But for the start of for bridge pose, you can take your hands by your hips and inhale, rise, hips up towards the ceiling. And if you wanted to assist, you can take your forearms underneath onto the sacrum and assist your hips up towards the ceiling. Good. So you can stay there for bridge pose. If you wanted to go even deeper into wheel pose, you can take your hands underneath your shoulder blades, your hips up towards the ceiling, and then straighten out through the arms, sending your chest up towards the ceiling. Those are the two variations that could be used for this morning. If you come down from your wheel pose, please bring your shoulders to the ground, not your head. 2 more breaths. And very slowly, bring your hips to the ground. Extend your legs up to the front of the mat. Take a deep inhale, stretch your arms to the top of the mat here. Deep inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And then you can bring your hands to the sides. Take these few moments to yourself here in your Shavasana. So thank you very much for coming to my morning class. Have peace be still for the rest of your day. And namaste.